It's a very warm welcome back to second half independent off-tube studio commentary. The game at Craven Cottage has just resumed for the second half. Fulham 1, Crystal Palace 1. Fulham are doing all the legwork really in the first half in terms of possession, in terms of trying to get things started. But Palace took the lead and it was only a penalty in the last seconds. But now Palace have lost the ball in midfield. Mitrovic is charging forward. What a run this is. He finds Wilson and a ball played across. Great chance, and Fulham should be in front inside the first 20 seconds of the second half. But Alexander Mitrovic, I mean, you would put a lot on him scoring from there. It was set up for him just at the edge of the 6-yard box. Ball coming across him onto his right foot, and somehow he misses. It's myself, Paul Szczerbakowicz, and Harry Jones for the second half. Harry, how is it not 2-1 to Fulham now?
Well, I've honestly got no idea, but I thought the initial move was wasted. The ball goes across to Harry Wilson, and instead of driving forward, he cuts back on his left foot, and you think there, well, Palace have got enough men back now, but there's a lovely overlapping run from Harrison Reed in which Wilson picks out perfectly, and then he almost catches the Palace back line off guard by driving the ball first time towards the far post. Nobody was home apart from Mitrovic. He had the whole goal to aim at, and he stuck it wide, and well, that might just be that lack of match fitness that Mitrovic is missing out on, as he hasn't played too much in the recent months, has he, due to his suspension. So maybe a Mitrovic of 2 months ago would have finished that off perfectly, but in that situation he's missed, and it's almost unforgivable.
It is. I mean, it's a bad miss from Mitrovic. He doesn't catch it cleanly either. We can see now from the replay that he's just sort of scuffed it wide. But really, all he's got to do is look to see where the keeper is, roll it past him, and Fulham would have had the perfect start to the second half. But it's not to be. And Fulham now trying again down the left-hand side. A ball from Robinson, one for Willian to chase. Won't quite get there in time though, and it is out for a goal. Just to remind you of the 2 11s, there haven't been any changes at half time, so it is Bernd Leno in goal for Fulham, with Kenny Tete, Tosin Adebayo, Issa Diop and Anthony Robinson as the back four. The two holding midfielders are Harrison Reed and João Paulinho. The three ahead of them, Harry Wilson, Tom Kearney and Willian, with Alexander Mitrovic as the front man for Palace. It is Sam Johnstone in goal, with a back four of Joel Ward, Joachim Anderson, Mark Guay and Tyrick Mitchell. Czech Decore and Will Hughes are the two holding midfielders, with Michael Elise, Eberechi Eze and Jordan Ayew as the midfield three, playing behind Odsonne Edouard. Long ball now played towards the edge of the Fulham penalty area, headed away by Adebayo, but here come Palace again. It's down the left here with Eze. His cross is charged down and it will bounce out for a throw to Palace down the left-hand side. Eze waiting to take it. Gets the ball back from Mitchell. First thought from Palace is to go back towards their own half. Just to remind you of the other scores, it's Bournemouth 0, Manchester United 1. It's Liverpool 0, Villa 1. Listening to our commentator who's doing that game, he said it could have easily been 3-0 to Villa, as well as the penalty miss from Watkins. There was another great chance for Douglas Luiz, and Wolves leading against Everton by a goal to nil. But here come Palace now, down the left-hand side. The ball getting towards Ayew. Holds it up here for Mitchell. Mitchell's cross is easily dealt with. Tosin Adebayo, long clearance up towards the halfway line. Mitrovic holds it up, and then Kelly does really well just to turn away from Decore. Mitrovic plays it first time down towards the right-hand side, I should say, for Wilson. Maybe that was a little bit too quick there from Mitrovic, but Fulham are up for it at the start of this second half, and can see that Decore and Kearney, who were fighting for that ball, are now both down on the ground.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if they're both okay to continue. Tom Kearney almost second guesses his own injury, and he realised it maybe hurt a little bit more than he initially anticipated, but seeing the replay here between the two, it didn't really look like there was too big of a coming together from them, but you just see they just get tangled up there. I think Kearney may have taken a stud to the calf, and in doing so Decore's got his legs tangled up and got himself caught in between Kearney, so it's a nasty one.
Yeah, I mean, in that one, we were talking earlier in the game about the collision between Anderson and Mitrovic, whether there was intent or not. There, it genuinely is a situation where two players have hurt themselves and there's no intent of foul from either of them. They're both going for the ball. It's just the way in which it's ended up playing out.
Yeah, it's just coming together, but they are both back to their feet, so they will be okay. But up until this point, Fulham have started the second half much better, but equally they did in the first half. They just couldn't use their chances. They had a lot of possession, but it's all well and good having the ball at your feet if you're not doing anything with it. And when Palace did have their very select chances to go forward, they punished.
They did. They only had the one effort on goal in the first half, and that was enough for them to take the lead. Fulham did have 6 efforts on goal in the first half, but only one of them was on target, and now you can say 7 efforts on goal and still only one of them was on target after that miss from Mitrovic right at the start of the second half. Now Fulham cleared the ball long, but they've cleared it straight to Czech Decore, who ranges forward now towards the edge of the area. He then picks out Michael Elise, who's down the right hand side here for Palace. He's taking on Robinson, but Robinson is not a slow defender, and Anthony Robinson there The American left back holding his own there and is able to clear the ball up towards the halfway line, where Anderson gets there first for Palace. He plays it back to Johnston and then clears it long towards halfway. Willian jumping for this one, as is Joel Ward. And Palace, well, they did have it back very briefly, but here come Fulham again now, pushing forward through the middle. That's good work though from Will Hughes. Wins the ball back for the Eagles. Mitchell now heads it on, but that's a strong challenge there, potentially even a foul maybe, but the referee says play on. Now it will be a free kick to Fulham down the right hand side. Jordan Ayew trying to help out in defence, but if you're going to get somebody with number 9 on his shirt coming back into defence, there's always a chance he might commit a foul. Yeah, he's always such a workhorse, isn't he, Jordan Ayew? That's why Roy Hodgson likes to utilise him on the left hand side rather than through the middle, because he knows he'll get a lot of defensive output from him. He's a player who's a very hard worker, but you just see there he's a little bit too keen to try and win the ball back. Tete does really well to just hold himself in front of the ball and initially buying the foul. It's one of those ones, isn't it? As soon as a player feels contact from behind, you know you can go down and win a free kick very easily. It doesn't matter how much contact there is. Absolutely, and the referee's always going to give that in your favour. 51 minutes gone on official independent off-tube studio commentary. 1-1 between Fulham and Crystal Palace. But now Fulham have this free kick over on the right-hand side. Left-footed Kearney and right-footed Willian, the usual takers. They're both over it, and it is going to be the right foot of Willian. He's going for goal. He's trying to surprise Sam Johnston, but there was nowhere near enough pace or whip on that, and Johnston makes a comfortable save. Yeah, I think even if he hits that perfectly, Johnston still gets there. He was just too far out there, Willian. I understand the approach and what he's trying to do there, but I think if you do that, it's got to be one where you take it quickly and catch him off guard. If you give the keeper a chance to get across his box, he's always going to get there to make the save. But Palace coming forward. Yeah, they were given an advantage by the referee as well. There was a bit of a foul there on Elise. Palace have since moved forward down the left and won themselves a throw. Still a long way from Fulham's penalty area. Ayew takes it and goes back towards Mark Guay. Inside now towards Decore. Back towards Joel Ward, and his ball over the top here is one for Elise to chase. That's good work though from Diop to cut it out, but Palace have gained quite a bit of territory in doing that. They now have a throw level with the edge of the area, and Anderson has come up for this one as well. I thought he might be, in fact Ward is going to be launching this one into the box. No, he's not. It's just a short throw. I thought after Palace had swapped the throw on taker, they might have had some sort of plan in mind, but it's just a short throw and the ball back towards halfway. Palace still trying to play quite a conservative approach here. I thought they could have tried to launch the ball into the box then, but here comes Guay now pushing forward through the middle. He's brought down Harrison Reed, one number 6 fouling another, and it's a free kick to Palace. Yeah, it is, and it's in a good area as well, because it didn't really look like he was under too much pressure there, Harrison Reed. He didn't need to dive in and make a last-ditch challenge that he gave. He was making good inroads, but there was a couple of players in there to support. He then turned away from goal, and that's when the foul was made. So I think it's a little bit unnecessary from Harrison Reed there, because now Palace can flood the box. They've got a couple of players they can throw in there to give a bit more aerial presence, and in doing so, they could put Fulham under pressure. They'll certainly be looking to do that here with the right ball into the box. Hodgson is just having a quick word with his assistant there, Ray Lewington. Just looking at the two, I'll go through the two benches in a moment. We'll see this free kick first. It's going to be Michael Elise to take it here from the left-hand side. He's got his... just having a quick look here, Elise, to see where his teammates are. Bernd Leno has organised his defenders. Fulham trying to keep an offside line here just at the edge of their own box. But we'll see what Elise can do from here. It's an arm up from him, and it's a ball into the box. It's a poor cross, overhit from Michael Elise. Anderson's chasing it to Elise. Keeper's side in possession down the right-hand side. He's tussling there with Robinson, and it is out for a throw to Palace, which Anderson takes himself very quickly back to Decore. It's with Mitchell on the halfway line now. Options to play it long, just plays it short to Guay. Decore does well, just drops the shoulder and gets away from Mitrovic. A ball now played towards the edge of the area. That one is cleared up towards the halfway line. Now Kearney can start a counter-attack for Fulham. He finds Willian on the left. Kearney goes on the overlap, and that's where the ball has gone. There's two waiting in the box for him. Kearney's cross, just too close though. It's catching practice in the end for Johnston. Yeah, it is, and it's a couple of times that's happened now for Fulham, hasn't it? They've worked their way into a good area, and then it's that final ball, that's that final delivery. We've seen Willian and Kearney on a number of occasions today, both culprits of poor deliveries into the penalty area. Mitrovic was there on the penalty spot. There was a run towards the far post from Harry Wilson. Even Harrison Reed was making a late run towards the far post, but in the end it was right down the throat of Sam Johnston, and a player who's, we've already said today, a goalkeeper who's not really known for his
his awareness in and around the penalty area, or his command of his area, but there it was way too easy for him. Anyone could have called it.
He'll get much tougher crosses than that in the warm-up before a match, I think, Johnston, but did well with that one, holding on to it now, and it's Palace just starting to see a bit more of the ball in these early stages of the second half, as Guay's long ball now, one for Edouard to chase. It's not a good bit of play though from Adebayo. Wanted to put it out for a throw. It never actually reached the touchline. And now Edouard dropping a shoulder, breaking into the box. He leaves it now for Elise. Elise didn't have a chance to get that ball in first time. He then has the overlap of Tyrick Mitchell. That's where the ball has gone. Mitchell just holds it up and goes back towards Elise. His cross fires off Harrison Reed, who's in a bit of pain after that bit of contact, but he still had enough about him to remind the referee that it should only be a throw rather than a corner. That's precisely what's been given. Standing over this one now is Tyrick Mitchell, looking to see where he could potentially send this ball. So one way and then the other. Gets the ball in towards Eze, who then tries to get away, forcing Tete into giving away a corner kick, but it's not to be. It's actually come off Eze last, and it's out for a goal kick.
Yeah, it's better defending there as Fulham just do enough. It's always difficult with the likes of Eze running into the penalty area. You never know what he's going to do. He's so unpredictable and so quick on the ball that you don't want to dive in, make that challenge and potentially give away a penalty. But Fulham did well there, but that's really poor from Diop. He's given the ball away and Palace have a chance now to counter.
They do. Diop's given it away, and it's Edouard now who's done exactly the same. He returned the favour there on Sonny. Edouard just stabbed the ball forward like a kid who's been made to play football at school and doesn't really want to play football. He just toe ends it away from himself, and no chance for any Palace teammate to save that. So Fulham gave it away, Palace gave it away straight away at the other end. Here they go now with Anthony Robinson, leaves the ball for Willian at the edge of the area. He's got 4 or 5 players to work with. There was an overlap there from Kearney. That's what he was trying to do, but Joel Ward is there, and not only does he clear it, he clears it off Willian, so it's out for a throw to Palace.
Yeah, pretty comfortable defending there in the end from Palace. Willian, he had the right idea, didn't he, to try that reverse ball to Kearney. He just couldn't quite get it off. Anderson was looming in and around the sort of penalty area. He's cut it out nicely as Liverpool have equalised at Anfield. Cody Gakpo has given them the equaliser. Yeah,
Gakpo with the equaliser there, so perhaps Villa paying for not being more ruthless in the first half with the chances they had, as well as the penalty. There was also another good chance for Douglas Luiz. Could have been 2 or 3 up at half-time, as it is. So getting confirmation there's a VAR check in that Liverpool goal, so maybe Villa will still be in front at Anfield. And that's in just a moment. Back here at Craven Cottage, it's Fulham playing out from the back, tossing Adebayo over the halfway line. Out towards Reed down the right-hand side. Reed and Tete. Then Reed gets the ball back from Tete. He tried to use the pace of that pass, then run onto it, but there was just too much on it, and it's out for a throw. Yeah, Fulham once again getting into decent areas, just not able to find that final touch of class, that little bit of class that they desperately need. That's just what they've been lacking so far. That's why they're not in the lead in this game. So at Craven Cottage, it is still 1-1. Fulham had a glorious chance to take the lead inside the first few seconds of the second half. After the ball was won in midfield, it was played through towards the right-hand side, and Wilson picked out Mitrovic, who was in the box, and he was only about 7 yards out. The goalkeeper was still diving across to get anywhere near him, and Mitrovic just scuffed the shot wide. It really was a gilt-edged opportunity that Mitrovic should have scored from. At the other end, there's not been too much work for Leno, a little bit of work for his defenders, but Fulham still seeing more of the ball, but it's as you were in the first half, with Fulham seeing more of the ball, but not really able to create those dangerous chances, barring that one from Mitrovic, which he missed. It is still 1-1 at Craven Cottage. Meanwhile, here come Palace now pushing forward. Jordan Ayew got towards the edge of the area before a very late offside puts pay to all of that. And speaking of offside, the goal between Liverpool and Villa has been disallowed for offside. Cody Gakpo had not stayed on side there, so it's still Liverpool 0, Aston Villa 1 at Anfield. Yeah, an interesting goal and interesting results in the fights for the top 4 and the top 6 sorts of areas in the Premier League table, as Aston Villa desperately trying to edge closer and closer towards Liverpool. They're only 5 points behind as it stands, with the goal being disallowed. So definitely wanting to make their stake on the top 6. They obviously can't catch Liverpool, so 6th is the highest they can finish this season, and 3 points today would definitely cement themselves in a good position. But they do have Brighton with 2 games in hand behind them. Yeah, Brighton have seemingly had those games in hand over everybody all season, haven't they? But now, of course, we're into the last 8 days of the season, so they are going to have those 3 games. One tomorrow, then one on Wednesday, I believe, and then obviously everyone plays at the same time next Sunday. As ball goes out for a throw to Fulham down the right-hand side. Still in a decent position here. Tete with the throw. As Wilson claiming that he was fouled by Tyrick Mitchell, and combination of the linesman and the referee agree, although the animated response from Roy Hodgson tells us that he clearly doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, the linesman agrees with the referee, and it's going to be a decision in Fulham's favour, but just see a replay there. I mean, I'm not sure why you can have any sort of claims there. It's a clear push in the back, and it's a really needless one as well. Mitchell's not had a great game today. There's been a number of occasions where he's given away cheap fouls, obviously the penalty as well. It's not been his finest hour.
No, he's not. He's been got at, I think, today a couple of times. I think there's a bit of pace in this Fulham attack, and that just seems to be putting him off, as Kenny and Willian, the usual standing over this ball. Is it going to be an in-swinger from Kearney? No, it's going to be an out-swinger from Willian towards the edge of the 6-yard box, and a bullet header, and it's Alexander Mitrovic. He makes up for that glaring miss inside the first 30 seconds of this second half, and just over the hour mark, Fulham do take the lead.
Yeah, Alexander Mitrovic on the double on the day, and it's a fantastic header from him. He sort of peels his run from the back post, makes a darting run towards the near, and nobody's picked him up. The Serbian has got away scotch-free with that one. There's nothing Johnson can do in goal, much like the penalty. He just absolutely fires it into the near post of Sam Johnson. With such pace and precision, there's nothing the goalkeeper can do to get anywhere near it, but Mitrovic there with a beautiful placement, a beautiful run, and finally a good ball in from one of the Fulham wingers.
So it's Fulham who now take the lead just over the hour mark. It was a foul from Tyrick Mitchell on Harry Wilson down the Fulham right, just at the edge of the area, and it was Willian's ball whipped in towards the edge of the 6-yard box. It's a great, powerful header from Alexander Mitrovic, but really, you've got to say that in terms of Mitrovic, the marking was non-existent. Considering how dangerous he is from set pieces, what a goal threat he's proved to be in the Premier League this season, there'll be an inquest in that Palace defence as to how he had so much freedom to just get across the 6-yard box and then finds Willian's cross with a very powerful header past Sam Johnston. It's what Fulham will say they deserved it because they've had the better start in the second half, perhaps lacking a bit of quality in front of goal, but now they've found that quality. Fulham 2, Palace 1.
Yeah, it's a really good header, but like you said, definitely could have been dealt with better from the Palace back line. He curved that run from the far post in towards the near, and nobody picked him up. No one followed him at all. He had a free header, really, so as fantastic as the header was, and got so much power and pace behind it, as well as the accuracy. I mean, he had all the time in the world to take that header. He wasn't under pressure. There was nobody trying to make an effort to put him under. So in that state, it's probably quite an easy header in the end for Mitrovic. It was a lovely ball as well from Willian to put it on a plate for him. He did all the hard work. Mitrovic just had to finish it off, and he did so in fantastic fashion, as Palace will look to try and make an instant impact here, as they went 1-0 up and now they're finding themselves 2-1 down. To let that lead slip is unfortunate for them, but you can say it's probably deserved. They've been the architects of their own downfall, going 1-0 up, probably against the run of play, and they've not been able to follow that up.
They've not been able to follow up. No, they've still not had that run of possession in this game where they've really been able to try and dictate things to Fulham, and that will be a worry, I think, for Roy Hodgson, that his side time and again just haven't been able to step up and match Fulham in terms of, or at least try to match Fulham in terms of the possession in midfield, unless Palace, of course, had the plan of just playing on the counter, but that's always going to be a risk if Fulham are holding onto the ball as well as they are. Now, it's just a long ball over the top to nobody in particular, but Hughes has chased it down and kept it in play. He gets a cross in from the left. Fulham deal with it just at the edge of the 6-yard box. It's cleared, but not too far. Are you still trying to keep it alive before it's played back towards Bernd Leno, and this time he can clear it up towards the halfway line? Yeah,
it was a good bit of play there from Crystal Palace, and we asked for an instant impact, and they have definitely provided it, but you can say it's a bit too little too late to provide an impact once you've gone down in a game that you were leading in after half an hour. So disappointing from Crystal Palace, but they've still got time to get themselves back into this game. It's just unfortunate how it's come about with them not being on top at all, and now they're looking to come forward through the left-hand side with Ayew.
Yeah, when Ayew breaking into the box, players over for him. He fires a shot, which I think luckily deflected to the path of Michael Elise and Eze down that right-hand side. But here's Willian back into his own penalty area, and then he clears the ball up towards the halfway line.
Yeah, it's better from Palace, as we see there. Ayew does really well, but I think he just takes too much time on the ball. By the time he unlocks it out of his feet, there's a couple of Fulham players that are putting him under that really close down the angle, make it hard for him to get that shot on goal without any sort of interactions or any deflections. And it does take a fortunate deflection towards Eze, but as he lines up his shot, I think him and a teammate were both caught in two minds. There's a bit of a lack of communication between the pair, and they couldn't quite get the shot away, but here comes Elise.
He stayed down the right-hand side, needs the support of Joel Ward, but instead of that, Joel Ward is robbed of the ball by Willian, and here come Fulham on the attack now. Mitrovic had gone into a way offside position, and that's what Willian's frustrated about, that he had no option to pass to Mitrovic. Palace have won the ball back in the meantime. It's Will Hughes now just inside the centre circle, turning away from Tom Kearney, going back towards Mark Guay. There is Hughes again, down the left-hand side. Looking for Mitchell. There's a bit of activity on that bench as well. We'll see in just a moment if either manager wants to make a change. Ball now playing towards the edge of the Fulham penalty area. It's taken down by Eze, who shoots at goal. It's cleared up towards the halfway line. That should be easy for goalkeeper Johnston to come out here for Palace. So it's Duffy, Carlos Vinicius, Decordova-Reid, Solomon, Cedric Suarez, Harris, Cabano, Lukic and goalkeeper Rodak on the bench for Fulham this afternoon. For Palace, it's Riederwald, Akamada, Mateta, Klein, Richards, Adamarala, MacArthur, Lakonga and Whitworth for Hodgson to choose. And there's a few younger players on that Palace bench. But here come Fulham now with Willian. Willian goes for goal, and that is a fabulous effort. Forcing a save there from Sam Johnston. Willian doing what he likes to do, playing on the left, cutting in on his favoured right, and then sending one to the top corner. Yeah,
it's lovely, isn't it, from Willian? He's almost at a walking pace before, just injecting that burst of speed to get away from Anderson. He does so really well, because he opens up a really nice angle to shoot, and you can't blame him for going for goal from there. We know what he can do from those sort of situations on the edge of the penalty area. That was definitely dipping into the top corner. Johnson with a fantastic stop to tip it over the crossbar. All it took was fingertips to drive it away from goal, and he's definitely saved Palace going 3 down.
Certainly has. That would have been very difficult to recover, considering that Palace have struggled really to get any kind of attacking opportunities today. But it's a Fulham corner now, an outswinger from Willian, an attempted volley there from Adelibai. That would have been a worldie if big centre-back had put his foot through that and caught it clean, but it's over the bar. Yeah, it was a strange delivery as well, because it looked like it was going head height, but then nobody seemed to clear it away for Palace, so it just sat up nicely for Adelibai on the foot, and he just tried a sort of scissor kick volley attempt, but caught it almost too flush, didn't he? And it flew over the crossbar and wasn't ever going to trouble Sam Johnston in goal. But Crystal Palace had a brief injection of momentum and pace, but up until that Willian chance, but he sort of snuffed that out. But here they come forward again with Eze. Yeah, he drops the shoulder, gets away from his hand, puts a cross in, which should get to Jordan Ayew down the left-hand side. He's got an overlap from Mitchell, but Ayew cuts back into the middle. Gets away from his own teammate Decore, and then he puts a cross into the box, which is cleared. And now Fulham have a man over here in the form of Willian, and suddenly it's a counter-attack for Fulham. Mitrovic is joining this attack as well. Reid is playing through the middle. Wilson is there. The ball is played out towards João Paulinho. His cross into the box. There's Will Hughes, who's backtracking into his own penalty area, and his header goes out for a throw. Yeah, it was a really nice counter-attack, wasn't it? Mitrovic once again doing what he does best and holds off his man, turns away and gives a lovely ball to Willian to unlock himself down the left-hand side. I'm not sure why Willian turned back and stopped, because I'd have expected Willian to have a pace advantage over Joel Ward, but he just second-guessed himself, didn't he? I mean, he also had an extra 5 or 10 yards as well on Joel Ward, so in that situation I think you've got to look at your opponent and think, have a bit more respect for yourself and try and back yourself a bit more and go yourself. I think so. I think that's a very fair point, particularly with the scoreline being in Fulham's favour. Maybe if they were trailing and he felt as though they need to be more, just preserve the ball, then there might have been an argument for not doing that. But Mitrovic was down on the ground briefly, and we're just trying to see, without actually replaying us, the foul that led to the goal. And we'll see from this angle, is there any argument to say? In fact, no, we're not seeing the foul from another angle, but. It seemed to me like that there was a lot of talk from Palace that the free kick shouldn't have been given. We can now see, I think, that the ball was moved at least a yard or two from where the foul was marked by the referee. So there are a couple of little, if you like, comments in the margin there in terms of what Palace would say, that perhaps the foul was a little bit harsh and the free kick wasn't taken from its exact spot. But in the meantime, Fulham did have a throw down the right-hand side. They were trying to get a cross in, which is deflected out by Hughes. We're over the 3-quarter mark. In the meantime, it is 69 minutes gone. Fulham 2, Crystal Palace 1. It will be Harry to take us through to full time. Thanks, Paul. And Fulham have a chance now from this corner kick to further their advantage to 2 goals. They've got plenty of options to aim at in the area. Mitrovic seemingly okay now after sustaining a little knock on halfway in his build up to the chance that led to the throw-in. We just saw, I think it was Anderson who almost bundled into the back of him when he laid the ball off to Willian, but the corner's been taken deep towards the far post. That's a really poor delivery there in the end, and Fulham once again can't make Crystal Palace pay
when they have got the opportunity. Tom Kearney there with a really poor ball in. I mean, it's almost been a tail of the tape really for Fulham. I'm not sure how they're in the lead with the real lack of delivery and nous that they've had in terms of dead ball situations.
Well, it's just been the same throughout really. That they've just not been able to use the few opportunities that they've been given. And here come Palace now though, with Ayew trying to get away down the right hand side.
Yeah, they almost found a way into the area there, Crystal Palace, but free kick's going to be given to Fulham as Will Hughes just catches Harry Wilson as they look to try and mount a counter-attack there, Fulham. As we just see a replay now of Ayew and his challenge that he claimed he should have had a free kick for, and Wilson there just that was naughty there from Will Hughes as he just almost stands across Harry Wilson and stops him from creating that counter-attack. As we'll have another free kick for Fulham deep inside their own half. They're happy to keep things slow now as we tick over the 70th minute of the game, as they are leading 2-1 after going 1-0 down, so I'm sure we'll see a lot of slower play from Fulham now, not quite the high tempo fast-paced build-up that we saw from them earlier on in this half and obviously the first half. But a chance now is there's going to be a yellow card that Josh Smith, our referee, is going to try and brandish, but it looks as though the game got restarted before he managed to do so. Is it Tosin Adarabioyo that got booked there for time wasting? I think it may have been.
Yeah, I think it is, yeah. A yellow card there for Fulham centre-back Adarabioyo. I don't think, say with 19 minutes to go, if Fulham are just starting to take a little bit longer with their set pieces, with their throw-ons and restarts, then a quick yellow card to one of their players might just speed things up a little bit.
Yeah, hopefully for Crystal Palace's sake that is, but yeah, it almost seemed like the referee didn't get a chance to get his book out before play was restarted from that free kick, but it has been confirmed that Tosin Adarabioyo was booked, so that is our first yellow card of the game somehow, as there's a long ball forward for Crystal Palace. It's sat really nicely on the edge of the box there for Odsonne-Edouard, who unleashed a shot. He scored the first goal for Palace. He could have been the second player today to grab a brace, but just directed his shot a little bit too central. Leno in the end was pretty comfortable in his save.
Yeah, there's no issues there for Leno. I think he was. You see that sometimes where players are so worried about hitting a moving ball so hard that they're going to just sky it way over the bar that they go the other way and sort of undercompensate almost and really just try to flick that ball there, and it didn't quite work out. So the shot was always going to be an easy one for the goalkeeper as Fulham go long now. Wilson trying to do his best to force a cross, force a corner. In the end, it's just out for a goal kick.
Yeah, pretty comfortable in the end for Crystal Palace. Harry Wilson wasn't quite able to keep the ball out as it got to the byline, but we've restarted from the goal kick. Palace moving down the right-hand side this time. Elise just drifting infield. He's had a very quiet game, Michael Elise, but he's looking for a ball out towards the left-hand side now. Can Mitchell keep it in? Yes, he can. So a good ball in the end from Elise as Mitchell whips his cross in the box. Nobody was home, though, straight into the hands of Leno. It looked for a second that might just take a little curve back towards the penalty area. If it did, Jordan Ayew was a free man waiting for it, but Mitchell's ball in. Couldn't quite find a teammate, and Fulham will restart in possession all the way to inside their 6-yard box with Leno in towards now. Harrison Reed finds Tete, options down the line to Amat. He opts for a long ball into the middle of the park, but Will Hughes has other ideas. He's plucked that one out and will restart for Palace as Kenny Tete there, just caught by Jordan Ayew. Ayew went down maybe a little bit soft, which has caused Tete to raise a few questions with the referee, but nonetheless it will be a free kick to Palace.
What amused me by that little moment there was that Kenny Tete was, I think, remonstrating with Roy Hodgson, the Palace manager, about that last decision. He was shouting, saying he can't believe it's been given as a free kick. He won the ball, but at the same time he stuck his hand out to help out the man that he brought down, which I thought was quite good, that there was still that sporting behaviour there from Kenny Tete. Here come Palace down the right.
As Michael Elise looks to drift away from Robinson. That's going to be a free kick for Crystal Palace. Anthony Robinson just not quite quick enough to deal with Elise's quick feet.
Do you not think it was almost like the referee and the linesman were waiting for each other there, because the linesman sort of stood and he waited for the whistle, it never came, so then he waited another 2 or 3 seconds and he started waving his flag. But to me, it was an obvious foul there as Elise. So there's not much contact with Robinson, but there's enough. In those situations you would always give that, I think.
Yeah, I mean, he just caught Michael Elise on the top of the feet as he cut back quickly onto the left foot. But we'll have a chance now from this Crystal Palace free kick. Abirachi Eze is going to be the man to take this one. Willian providing a one-man wall for Fulham, it looks like. Can Eze get Crystal Palace back into this game and back on level terms for the 3rd time today? Has got plenty of options to aim at. all in and around the penalty spot. That's where the Palace players seem to be occupying. As they whips the ball in towards the near post, it's flicked on by Joel Ward. It comes off. It's a Diop blast, and it will go out for a Crystal Palace corner. So they're keeping up this pressure, Crystal Palace.
They are. They've won themselves one set piece off the back of another. They have a good chance now to try and load that box up again. Diop in the right place at the right time to put that out for a corner. It's the first corner kick of the game, and it's taken Palace nearly 80 minutes.
This is Michael Elise is going to take this corner. Be a left-footed in-swinging ball from the Frenchman. Once again, it's quite near Bernd Leno, and nobody was there at the far post, and that's where he delivered the set piece. So another poor delivery. It's I feel like I've been repeating myself time and time again today now for both sides, as the final delivery in the penalty area has just been lacking. Obviously, barring Alexander Mitrovic's header, we're yet to see a flurry of decent deliveries.
Yeah, both sides have lacked in terms of their quality in the final third. We're more sort of aware of Fulham because they've had more of the ball in the final third, but sadly, from the neutral's point of view, where we always want to see the most goals, it's almost spread to Palace. That on the few occasions they've been in attacking possession, their deliveries haven't been good enough either.
Yeah, I mean, we want to see the most goals, and up until this point, we have seen the most goals in the Premier League, as there's still no other updates to tell you about across the board. Bournemouth still trailing 1-0 to Manchester United. Liverpool are currently trailing at home to Villa, and Wolves currently still leading 1-0 at Molineux to Everton. As there's a free kick just on the edge of the Fulham penalty area. Tosin Adarabioyo not happy with himself. I think that's more so self-frustration, as he's brought down a Palace man on the edge in a dangerous situation, and we know the likes of Michael Elise, Eberechi Eze are fantastic from these sort of ranges.
Yeah, they'll fancy their chances here. This is a great opportunity to try and get a ball direct on goal. We'll see how exactly Fulham will want to set this up, because Palace will see set this up. But as the ball was being played forward, could see Edouard just being clattered into there, and I think he was Adebayo just a bit too keen, but he was actually backing away from goal there as well, Edouard, which would have frustrated Marco Silva, that his side have given away a free kick that could have been avoided.
Yeah, it's a free kick that's in a prime position for some of Palace's more technical players, who will look to potentially have a go from goal here. They could work maybe a short free kick routine. We saw Harry Kane earlier on today score from a free kick. It was indirectly from a free kick, but scored a brilliant goal for Tottenham in the early kick-off, as they were defeated 3-1 at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium by Brentford. But Kane with that beautiful goal. Can Crystal Palace score a lovely free kick of their own, is the question, as Jean-Philippe Mateta is primed and stripped down and ready to go on the touchline. He'll have to wait until this free kick is taken, as it's both Eze and Elise standing over it. It looks like it's going to be Elise, given the walk back from the ball that he's just taken. As he steps up looking to take, Elise does drive it low towards the near post. It was a bit of a tame effort in the end, but the placement was all there. He just tried to drill it into that near post bottom corner, but in the end, Bernd Leno got across his goal line and dealt with it pretty well.
He did, yeah. Leno always looked like he was confident there in being able to deal with that. More frustration, though, for Palace in terms of them not being able to use an attacking situation, as the long ball played now towards the edge of the Palace penalty area, but the visitors are able to deal with that. So we're less than 15 minutes away from full time then at Craven Cottage. It's Fulham 2, Crystal Palace 1, and it's been frustrating for Palace at times, because they've had opportunities to get forward, but they've just been lacking quality in the final third, which is something that Fulham have had for most of this game as well. The possession, once they get towards the edge of the area, the final ball into the box, has just been a little bit disappointing from both teams. But now with Palace trying to chase the game, we're seeing that a little bit more from Roy Hodgson's side. It's been quite a physical game as well. There's a strong coming together there between Ayew and Kenny Tete as well. But Fulham will feel as though they're in a strong position now. They'd love to get a third goal, but at Craven Cottage it's still 2-1.
Long ball over the top for Eze to latch onto, and he couldn't quite make anything work from there. There's going to be a couple of changes now for Fulham, as Bobby De Cordova-Reid is looking to come on to replace Harry Wilson. Tom Cairney, another man to go off as well, so a double for Marco Silva, and it's going to be Manuel Solomon to come on to replace Cairney. So like for like changes, you'd expect De Cordova-Reid to drop into the middle of the park, with Manuel Solomon drifting out to the right. Or unless Willian switches over to the right.
Yeah, well,
Solomon
it's a big sort of round of applause there from Tom Cairney. I just wonder perhaps if his contract is up, maybe he's going to be off. Not had as much game time for Fulham over the last couple of seasons, although he was instrumental in them winning their last two promotions. as Harry Wilson has put in a shift today as well, the former Liverpool man, but now Decordova-Reid. That's a new player for Palace to worry about. Of course, he's tricky and can be a quick winger as well. As Palace have also made a change here with Odsonne Edouard replaced by Jean-Philippe Mateta.
Yeah, Willian is still over on the left-hand side, and here he is on the ball. Drops it back short towards Anthony Robinson. He's going to drift away from Elise. Nice bit of trickery from the American fullback. And now Willian has his turn to try and work the ball around Michael Elise, as we saw earlier on today. A couple of the Fulham players in the stands who were watching some of the injured players, likes of Tim Ream and Andreas Pereira, how they'd like to have them back in the side. It would have made this European push a whole lot easier with them in the side, but here come Crystal Palace. A lovely ball finding Jean-Philippe Mateta, plays it across the face of goal, and it's evaded everyone. I think it took a touch off Issa Diop in the end. It did, and what a crucial touch that was, because it drove it right away from Jordan Ayew, and that stopped pretty much a certain goal.
Well, it did. I mean, it looked to me as though it was, what a great run this is from Jean-Philippe Mateta. The ball across, he just gets there ahead of the Fulham defender, and he gets a bit of a nutmeg there as well, but that touch from Diop is absolutely crucial. If he doesn't do that, then Palace would be level now.
Yeah, it's a real goal saver that was from Issa Diop, almost better than scoring a goal, as the corner's taken in at towards the near post. Mark Guehi gets there, but it comes off a Fulham player last, so they have another bite at the cherry here, Crystal Palace, as Issa Diop, camera's panning to him. It's like I was saying, it's almost better than scoring a goal there, stopping a certain one, as that ball was definitely making its way to the feet of Jordan Ayew. Here comes the second corner from Elise. This one goes a little bit deeper, but once again Elise with a delivery that's right down the throat of Bernd Leno, and he won't find many easier catches this afternoon, as he just waits for his side to get out of his own penalty area before they can play out.
Absolutely, yeah. We could see there Leno. Well, I mean, Anderson almost handballed that ball into the net there, didn't he? Jumping ahead of the Fulham keeper, as Fulham were under a bit of pressure there on the halfway line. Tete robbed of the ball, but the home side still able to keep the ball back. But you can see there's just a little bit more urgency about what Palace are trying to do now.
Yeah, it's a long clearance from Chik Doucouré. It's going to be picked up by Eze on the left-hand side. He's been brought to ground by Kenny Tete, and it seems as though Crystal Palace will have a free kick there. It's a little bit of a light one. There wasn't too much in it, but Eze was always backing into Tete, and he had one arm on the bicep of Eze.
Yeah, I mean it's a very, very soft decision, but it's one of those where if you put your arm, or if you put hands on an opposition player and you're giving him an excuse to fall, then when he falls, there's always a chance the referee might go for it.
Exactly, as Crystal Palace late on in this game are piling on pressure now. Elise with the whip ball in towards the penalty area. It's sat really nicely for Joel Ward, who's had the shot and a second bite of the cherry. Was he offside? I'm not too sure, as Joel Ward wheels away in celebration. It's going to be given for the time being, but it was a real scrappy goal in and around the penalty area. Fulham, if it is going to be given, then they've only got themselves to blame. Horrible defending from them to allow it to sit up nicely for Joel Ward. He has one shot. Bernd Leno with a great save, but unfortunately for the German goalkeeper, it falls right back to Ward to tap into an empty net.
Yeah, with smiles on Roy Hodgson's face there, and Jared Riedewald just sat next to him as well. The Palace bench certainly enjoyed that, as did Joel Ward. I mean, it's a collector's item for Joel Ward to get a Premier League goal. We'll wait and see now. This is the telling replay. Is Joel Ward offside when that ball is put in? He is not. Now, is he offside when that's...
It comes off a Fulham player.
It does come off a Fulham player. So this we may not get a restart immediately, but certainly early indications are that this goal should stand. Yeah, it comes off Anthony Robinson. So but I think there's every chance that this goal will stand.
Yeah, they've got their equaliser there, Crystal Palace, because the initial free kick into the penalty area did not touch a Crystal Palace player, and when it was played in, he was definitely in an onside position. All the Fulham players had their arms raised to the linesman, claiming that it should be offside. They probably think it will get disallowed, but it's not going to be. It's been checked by VAR and given, so the goal stands. It's 2-2.
We have a late equaliser then at Craven Cottage, and it was a ball played in from the left-hand side. It was a free kick, and the ball was played on towards Joel Ward, who then had a shot which was blocked inside the 6-yard box. He then got to the rebound himself and put it into the back of the net. Fulham were hoping for an offside, but replays show that the ball actually flicked off a Fulham player before it ended up with Joel Ward, so any offside claim at that point would have become a null and void. So it's frustrating for Fulham, who've certainly been the more expansive side over the 84 minutes that we've seen so far, but at the same time they've lacked a little bit of quality in front of goal, and you've got to admire Palace's doggedness for still trying to go for it late on. It's 2-2.
The game's really flipped on its head now, as Crystal Palace are doing all the attacking output, and they've got themselves a corner now. The free kick was taken deep inside their half by Joel Ward, headed up by Mateta, and Will Hughes just wanted it that little bit more, and Elise won a really nice flick on to Mateta, who was through on goal, and it forced a really good clearance out to Tosin Adarabioyo as the corner's whipped into the area by Crystal Palace. Elise was the man to take it. It's fallen to Eze. He tries a lovely dink over towards Elise. It's a lovely first touch from him, and what a strike that is from Elise, but he just can't quite find the back of the net. It just goes the wrong side of Bernd Leno's post. A really good bit of build-up play between Elise and Eze, and that first touch from Elise was exquisite to take it past the defender. He unleashes his shot, and it just goes wide of the margin.
Well, was this ball was put in by Eze, I mean, that touch from Elise is sensational, and the strike, I mean, it deserves to be a goal, and Roy Hodgson had a very good view of that, and he really reacted as well. You could tell that he thought that was going to be a fantastic strike for his youngster, but it wasn't to be.
It wasn't, and well, Crystal Palace feel they should probably have the lead by now. They might feel hard done by at full time, and you wouldn't have expected to say that around about 20 minutes ago, as Fulham were all over Crystal Palace, and the Eagles couldn't really get out of their own half. But since around about 10 minutes or so ago, Crystal Palace have been knocking on the door. They got their equaliser, and now they're really pushing for a winner, as Fulham now take their chance at clearing the ball away in pretty rugged fashion. They're not really able to hold on to the ball, so the roles have completely reversed here at Craven Cottage. Palace are on top. Can they get a late winner? Are you there just fouled by João Palhinha just inside the Fulham half? It's going to be a free kick to Crystal Palace, and I'm sure they'll look to flood the box again, as they've caused problems to this Fulham side. No, they opt to actually go back here through Joel Ward, back towards Sam Johnson in goal. Ward will receive the ball once more. He tries a ball over the top now. Mateta will look to flick it on, but it just catches him right on the top of the head, and he can't quite flick it onto a teammate, but he gets another bite of the cherry and does find a teammate. Now a lovely ball over the top from Elise, finds Will Hughes, but Bernd Leno was quick off his line. He did really well there to get to close down Will Hughes and claim the ball as his own, but Leno's clearance could only find the head of Mark Gay, and now Palace will pile on the pressure again through Decore now. Just on halfway, helps the ball out to the left-hand side. Mitchell is there, short ball in towards Eze. Back to Mitchell again. He's forced into going back to his own goal, and Gay, and now he plays it across the face of the penalty area. Sam Johnston will look for a long goal kick forward towards his left-hand side. It's a beautiful bit of distribution from Johnson to find Mitchell, but his pass forward was cleared by Manor Solomon. As far as a throw-in, 87 minutes played at Craven Cottage. It's 2-2, nothing to split the two sides. It's independent off-tube studio-based coverage. Still no goals elsewhere in the Premier League. And am I right in saying that the two goals we've seen in this game have been the only of the half in any Premier League fixtures? Interesting.
Yes, that's a very good shout. That's absolutely right. We've not had any goals in the game between Bournemouth and Man United, Liverpool or Villa, or Wolves Everton in the second half. Yes, so we're getting all the goals in the second half, as João Palhinha, who's already picked up his standard yellow card in this game, involved in another challenge there.
He is just being caught off guard there as he gives away another cheap free kick, and well, Fulham could live to regret all of these fouls that they're committing on the edge of the penalty area. It led to the Palace equaliser around about this sort of range as well. The goal came from, so they won't want to repeat history again. They say lightning doesn't strike twice, but Michael Elise will beg to differ with this free kick in towards the penalty area. It's actually almost a carbon copy of where they scored their first goal from. So can they repeat it? Elise with a whip ball, and this time it goes deep towards the far post. Joel Ward heads it back across goal. It's sat really nicely on the edge of the area. He couldn't quite get the shot away, Joel Ward. And it's cleared by Fulham, only as far as Sam Johnson in goal. He's all the way up towards the halfway line here, Sam Johnson, as he delivers another ball in. It's headed away by Issa Diop. Harrison Reed will get another header away. It's dropped down towards Anthony Robinson. Robinson plays it out to the left-hand side. Here is Willian, drops back infield. He delivers a long ball of his own, this time looking for the right-hand side of Manor Solomon. Cleared away by Palace. And Eze's done really well there to get the better of Kenny Tete, and he's unlocked himself down the left-hand side. He's got acres of space to run into. Eze marauding towards the Fulham penalty area, cuts in on the right foot, unleashes the shot. Poor effort from Eze, just snatched at it. Couldn't quite get it out of his feet in time, and it's gone over the crossbar. Yeah,
it's not good that from Eze in the end. Roy Hodgson won't be too pleased with that, but certainly now, if we were to pick a team that are likely to get a goal before the end of this match, it's far more likely to be Palace.
It is, as Fulham will look to take this goal kick just inside their own half. Now they are, as they look to come forward through Anthony Robinson. he finds a lovely ball into the feet of Alexander Mitrovic, who's now flying at the Palace back line. He tries to hook a ball out towards Manor Solomon. It's intercepted by Will Hughes, but he's then tackled by Harrison Reed, and Solomon will now look to work some magic from the right-hand side. He's tackled by Eze, but he's found a nice ball from João Palhinha. He goes back in towards Anthony Robinson. Out wide to Willian. He's got an overlapping run from Bobby Decord over Reed. Back towards Robinson. He hooks the ball in towards the penalty area. It's deep, though, headed away by Mitchell. But a second header is won by Harrison Reed. Palace will look to clear their lines. 3 minutes at a time, says the fourth official. And now Jordan Ayew's been unlocked on the left-hand side. They've got an overlap now here, Crystal Palace. Can they grab a late winner? Jordan Ayew's left the ball behind him, and it's killed all momentum on his run in towards the penalty area. That's unfortunate from the Ghanaian international. And he's had to go back towards home, but that was a really good chance. But he's just lost the ball underneath his feet.
Yes, just wouldn't quite stay with him. But Fulham are now pretty much the last gasp defending here. They're just doing what they can to try and frustrate Palace.
Yeah, they are, as Mark Gay now just pushing forward, trying to add support into the midfield and the attacking areas. Here is Elise. Oh, what a bit of skill from him to get away from Anthony Robinson, a player who's committed a few fouls today, and that is going to be a yellow card. I was about to say it should have been a yellow card for him because it's not his first foul today, and that one was a little bit more cynical, just trapping Elise as he looks to skip past him. It was a beautiful turn of foot from Elise to beat him, and he's just slung a leg.
Yeah, it's a bad challenge from Robinson. He knew what he was doing there. He was trying to stop a counter, trying to stop that move, getting too close to the penalty area. And as I say, there was a bit of a lunge there from João Palhinha and Jordan Ayew. João Palhinha's already been booked, so he doesn't want to get in the referee's attention too much. But this is a chance now for Palace with this free kick.
Yeah, they've got options in the area. Eze standing over it. It's going to be a right-footed out-swinging ball from the young Englishman. He finds it deep towards the far post. Ayew's there, but he can't quite head it back across goal in time, so he'll take it down in his stride. Finds Gay. Drop back towards Will Hughes. Now on the edge of the penalty area is going to be a shot from range from Czech Decore. An unlikely candidate for a long-range effort, but well, if he kept it down, he could have tested Bernd Leno in goal there, but it just flies over the crossbar, and Fulham will have a pretty comfortable goal kick from that.
Yeah, he put his foot through it, but unfortunately, as soon as he hits it, you just sort of thought that he is going to be rising a little bit too much, and that proved to be the case. Ball goes out for a goal kick. We've still got around 45 seconds to play. Yeah,
Liverpool have equalised late on at Anfield against Aston Villa, and it's a man in his farewell game at Anfield. It's Roberto Firmino who's got the goal, so a real fairy tale ending for him to grab a late equaliser for Liverpool in their bids to secure top four, but looking like a tall order if they didn't get all 3 points against Aston Villa. But here come Crystal Palace with about 30 seconds of the game left to go. Jordan Ayew's fouled there by Harrison Reed, and it's going to be a free kick for Palace, and it looks like it will be last chance for them to grab a winner.
Yeah, they'll try and get a ball into the box. If that ball is then cleared, you would imagine that probably will be full time. So the longer Palace can keep that ball inside the Fulham penalty area and then get a shot away, the more chance they have of actually using these last few seconds.
Harrison Reed, the culprit, making the foul. Palace, one last chance to grab a winner. Elise standing over the free kick. He's dropped it short in towards Eze, trying to work a more favourable angle, but it looks as though they've run out of time there, Crystal Palace, as the referee blows his whistle to signify the end of a pretty entertaining game at Craven Cottage between two sides. You don't have too much to play for anymore in the Premier League. Alexander Mitrovic with a double on the day, firing in his way back into the Fulham side. Crystal Palace, though, with a late equaliser through an unlikely candidate of Joel Ward, splits the points and splits the game for the two sides today. It's finished 2-2.